So you're thinking about moving to Naples? Well, here's everything you need to know before starting your home search and moving to Naples. My name is Mindy Sylvester, and I've been selling real estate in the Naples area for about 25 years. And if this is your first time to the channel, just stop right now and just go hit that little subscribe button, and then you'll be the first to know all the latest Naples real estate information. Okay, so here are 10 things you need to know before moving to Naples. These are frequently asked questions that we get all the time. Okay, number one, the first thing that I think people don't understand when they're moving to Florida, because I think it's so different than most cities up north, definitely than where I grew up in Central Illinois, but in Naples, in Florida, we have many different lifestyles, and communities offer different lifestyles. Like where I'm from up north, like you just really kind of have a gated community or a golf community, and then everything else is just a regular community, right? We have different lifestyles. So that's one of the first things when you call me to tell me that you're thinking about moving to Naples, that's the very first thing I want to know. I want to know, what do you envision your lifestyle to be like? And then I can help zero in on exactly the perfect community for you. Maybe you want to be in a boating community or a golf community, or maybe you want all the amenities, but you don't want to pay for golf. So maybe you just want to be in a resort style community. Or there's downtown living if you want to be near Old Naples, or of course the beach or the bay. There are so many, or acreage, right? There are so many different types of communities. And I think people don't understand here that first you have to decide, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your lifestyle to be like? And there's so many different choices here. And I think that's one of the great things about moving to Florida. So whatever your hobbies are, there's a community that has a lot of stuff to help you do whatever you want to do, right? So first, decide what lifestyle you want. All right, number two, let's talk about fees. There are condo fees and there are homeowners fees. They're two different things. So a condominium has its own fees, and the condominium fees usually cover the exterior of the building, the roof, the maintenance, the paint, and the insurance on the building. Homeowners insurance will cover things like maybe the guard at the gate, the landscaping, the amenity center. Now, sometimes if you have a condo community, you might just have condo fees. But if it's a larger neighborhood with different subdivisions, you might have condo fees and HOA fees. So obviously different things are covered depending on what type of association it is. Now, every association is different. You also have villas, which are like duplexes, one on each side when you only own one. And sometimes those are condos, and sometimes those are single family. And sometimes the building is covered, and sometimes it's not. And that's one of the things that I'll definitely help you navigate. But a lot of times people will look at the fees and be like, oh my gosh, that's so high. But you really have to stop to consider, what do the fees cover? If your fees are $400 a month, but it includes cable and internet and water, well, gosh, I mean, that's almost $400 right there, right? Water's 100, cable's 100, internet's 100. So you just have to figure out what it covers. And it almost always covers the lawn land maintenance, which, that's great. You can leave your lawnmower at home and up north, and you can leave your snow shovel, everything, leave that all up north, because you're just coming down here. You're just going to start enjoying life. So before you look at listings and look at the fees, find out what they cover, and then figure out, oh gosh, those fees are really high, or maybe not when you break down. Well, I'd have to write a check for water. I'd have to write a check for internet. So maybe it's not that bad. And a lot of times the communities do get bulk rates on internet and cable. So find out what that covers. And usually the communities with these large amenity centers, they're going to have higher fees, right? Because they have to cover the amenity center and the guard at the gate and things like that. So obviously the communities that have a lot of amenities will have higher fees. And sometimes you'll have simple communities that maybe they don't even have a clubhouse or a pool, community pool, or they have a very simple one, and those fees will be much lower. So I will definitely help you, navigate through the fees and things like that to help you decide whether or not that's something that you want to get into. Okay, now let's talk about number 3, a CDD. You'll hear that fairly often. What is a CDD? That stands for Community Development District. Now, what that is basically is with these communities that have these huge amenity centers, a lot of times the developer will take out a loan for the infrastructure and the amenities, and then the homeowners pay that back on their tax bill. So let me give you 2 scenarios. I'm just going to make up numbers. Let's say you have community A and they have a $1,000 a month CDD and $1,200 a quarter HOA fees. They keep their HOA fees lower because they have the CDD. Now, let's just say there's another community and it doesn't have a CDD, but the fees are $1,600 a quarter. So either way, you're going to pay for it one way or the other. It's just whether or not it's in the HOA fees or the CDD. So usually CDDs are a bit higher, like $1,200 or $1,600 a year, but every community is different. So, and not every community has a CDD. So that's definitely something you want to find out. That is in addition to the HOA fees, and that is an extra tax on your tax bill. Of course, I'll help you, let you know for sure. If you're ever looking at a community with a CDD, you'll know that in advance. Okay, number 4, let's talk about all these fancy names. When you're looking online, it can be so confusing. Well, what is a coach home or a carriage home or a condo or a villa or we have all these fancy names. What is the difference? Well, the difference is really usually nothing. A condo, coach home, carriage home, they're the same thing. We just like to confuse you. We just like to have really fancy names for things. Now, villas are generally where there's no one above you or below you. And like I said earlier, villas can either be single family homes or they can be considered to be condos. So, I guess a carriage home maybe sounds a little fancier than a condo. I don't know. I didn't make this stuff up. I'm just letting you know. Okay. So, all right. So if you have any questions about the actual type of ownership, which is either condominium ownership or single family home residence, of course, I will help you through that. Okay. Let's talk about pricing. Number 5. Okay. When you're looking at homes, and you might, be looking online, which is so tedious, which is why you should call me immediately, because I can help save hours of you searching online. You tell me what you want, and I'm going to narrow it down pretty quickly for you. I know the market very well down here, and I know searching online can be very tedious. So just call me. I can help weed out 80% of the stuff for you, if not more. All right. So if you're looking online and you're like, oh my goodness, why is this small little condo twice as much as this big house? Well, generally speaking, the closer you are to the beach, the more expensive the homes are. Prices vary based on a lot of things, the age, the type of community, things like that. But the further you get from the beach, the more home you can generally get. So if you're obviously the beachfront, bayfront properties are going to be a premium, but you get further away. And even when you're in like a community like Old Naples, and you're just talking about a small community, small area, just even the beach block or 9 blocks away is a big difference in the price, right? And especially as you go further east. So our pricing is very, very dependent on the proximity to the beach. So a lot of people want to come, they're like, listen, I want to be really close to the beach. Okay, that's great. But you're going to get a smaller, older home than if you go 6 or 7 miles from the beach, when you could probably get a single family home in a gated community for more. But that just depends on what you want. So also, when you're looking at communities, like I help people send me, oh my gosh, here's this great condo. It's $250,000. Why is this condo so cheap? Oh, by the way, the fees are $40,000 a year. It's in a golf course community. So that has a big factor on price as well. A lot of times, those communities that have the really high fees will have some lower priced properties because there's not as many buyers for people who want to pay $40,000 or more a year for a small condo. So that has a factor as well. Okay, now let's talk about number 6. Let's talk about flood zones. I mean, figure not the flood zones requires a PhD anymore, but basically a majority of us are in some sort of flood zone. Not everybody, but they just recently rezoned last year. So don't be too concerned or freaked out if you're in a flood zone because there's different levels of flood zones. Now, there is an X flood zone that may not require homeowners flood insurance. Generally, the closer you get to the beach, the higher level of flood zone that you're in, or it could be a low lying area, maybe homes that were built in the 60s or 70s where the homes haven't been built up. Those will be higher because they didn't have quite the requirements that we do now, the elevation requirements. Those homes were built at a lower level, and therefore they have a higher chance of flooding, which means higher flood insurance. So anyway, I have the most amazing insurance agents I can definitely hook you up with, and we can get you all that information for flood insurance or flood zone. Which brings me to my next point, number 7, is just insurance in general, homeowners insurance. Yes, you've heard homeowners insurance is quite expensive in Florida. And it is. We had a lot of carriers leave Florida the past couple of years because we did have a reasonable amount of hurricanes come through. But earlier this year, it's been announced that there are more carriers coming back into Florida. So when there's more carriers, there's more competition and the prices should be coming down. So again, I've got great insurance agents. I will definitely help you get the absolute best rates on your insurance. Okay, well, let's talk about number 8, HOA rules. Okay, some homeowners associations have stricter rules than others. Some will say that you can't have a potted plant over a certain size, and some HOAs are pretty relaxed about the rules. So when you're buying into an HOA, make sure you get the rules and make sure you review them and make sure that it is something that you feel like you can abide by. I mean, think you can be a rule follower. Now, I will say that, most when you get the documents, they can be pretty scary. You're like, oh my gosh, we are being heavily policed here. Well, sometimes they're not quite as heavy on enforcing some of the policies, but you should definitely do your research and know what you're getting into as far as the HOA rules. Sometimes they won't let you have cars parked in the driveway. And especially before you're moving, you'll want to make sure, can I have a moving truck come on here? Can I have a golf cart? Find out all of those things that are important to you and make sure that the HOA will allow it. Okay, number 9, let's talk about 55 plus communities. Okay, there are certain communities that are restricted to people who are 55 plus. But let me start off by saying this. Listen, it's Florida. Like, look around, okay? I would say most of the communities are pretty much the same. But anyway, I can't speak on age because that is considered to be discrimination, but I can talk about 55 plus communities. There are rules with the 55 plus communities, but they do allow a certain percentage of people under the age of 55 to live there, and that's 20%. So if you do find a 55 plus community, just know that there are laws actually that allow 20% of the people to be under the age of 55. So I wanted to let you know that. And then number 10, I wanted to let you know, this is very important. When you move to Naples, you can turn right on red and you cannot turn left from the right lane. Okay. I just had to throw that one in for fun because I don't know what happens to people when they move to Naples, but all of a sudden they're turning left from the right lane, and it's crazy out there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some information. Give me a call. I will help you zoom in on exactly what type of community you are looking for, and I'll help you save hours of searching online. I just had a couple come to town this week. They planned on 4 days of searching. I took them directly to the community that I knew was perfect for them. They got to go to the beach for 3 days when they thought they were just going to be house hunting the entire time. So let's get together. I will help you find the perfect house. I will narrow it down for you, and I will help you make a smooth move. Can't talk today. I will help you make a smooth move to Naples. So thank you for watching and have an awesome day.